to the FDA study that you're mentioning, by the way, I'd like to open this real quick. That one sec. So in this study, if we just clearly go through it, the FDA study that earlier did claim the benefits of consumption soy, or they did recommend soy. I can't clearly find it, but if I go through it, I'll definitely come back to that. It analyzed not studies with soy, it analyzed studies with soy protein. So it's not talking about, they're talking about soy protein isolates. Very few studies are talking about actual soy protein, actual soy with anti-nutrients. So what's the point of making a soy protein isolate if anti-nutrients aren't a problem? Now, again, I'm not saying that the FDA or the AHA is very trustworthy, because in fact, if you're aware of the study, that earlier these governing bodies had mentioned that trans fat is safe for consumption. So I totally believe that these governing bodies, as all governing bodies, can be corrupt at times as well. And the fact that soy is one of the most profit-making industry in the US, it's highly possible that there could be a little bit of corruption going on in these topics. So again, I'm not claiming that these governing bodies are corrupt. I'm just suggesting for the fact that it can be possible. So I'm not saying that FDA is the best or AHA is the best or any research is the best, but the very fact that we are medical and fitness and healthcare professionals just speaks for the fact that whatever we are promoting to the audience is something that guarantees the fact that you will not face any side effects from it. And the case for soy or anti-nutrients in general is very weak in this stance, because there's a lot of contradicting evidence, and you've been avoiding Ishizuki, by the way, a lot. We're not discussing.
Looking forward to discuss it. Please allow me that time.
Yeah, of course. So let's speak about Ishizuki then.
Am I allowed the time now?
Yeah, definitely. If you're speaking about Ishizuki, then you can take whatever time you want.
Perfect. I'm only going to discuss Ishizuki from now onwards. But before that, you made a lot of very generic statements. I don't think we should be making those statements, because sure, soy industry is profitable, but so is medical profession. And one can say, hey, doctors make a lot of money, so that implies that doctors are corrupt. You get my point? And that's not how we basically do things.
I won't disagree to that as well. There can be a lot of doctors that are corrupt. So if I were to recommend a doctor for you, I would recommend
does that imply medical industry is corrupt? And
obviously not. That's what I'm trying to say. Some doctors can be corrupt in certain situations.
And statements about some industry being profitable, and then it's wrong.
No, I'm just laying it out there for the audience. I'm not telling you that this is the.
Even some.
No one is confused. Of course,
without authorities, the whole world will go haywire. So we have to be. They can make mistakes.
It does seem that you are concluding for the audience instead of the audience concluding it. So I'm not confusing anyone. I'm just laying it out there. I'm just laying it out there.
Telling them that
because
they have to believe.
See, the thing is, I cannot make claims that have not been completely proven. Alright, and if you were to recommend a doctor, would you recommend someone who could be slightly corrupt?
You're contradicting yourself right now. You are saying you can't make claims which are not completely proven, and here you are making claims that soy is bad for you.
I've never made a claim that soy is bad for you. One second.
Allow me, and I'll open the Ishizuki study.
You can open the Ishizuki study, but let me clear these two things, by the way. I have never claimed that soy is beneficial, is bad for consumption. I have just claimed that there are much better foods than soy for consumption.
Okay, and some of the videos you actually did claim soy is bad, but maybe it was maybe.
Both of the videos. If you find soy and bad together in any one of the videos, I'll be more than happy to leave this debate. Right?
I think this video itself says soy is a scam, some soybean scam, protein scam, something like that, right? So, and again, the connotation. Anyways, let's move on to the Ishizuki study, because I don't think we have enough time. So, look at this. I've already conceded to you on the fact that I wrongly pointed out, because at the point I was just putting in the abstract.
4 out of 5 points.
Yeah, so I'm coming to all of those points. So one of the points was that when you presented the abstract in this thing, and again, it's a paper in Japanese, right? So I didn't have the translation handy with me, so I relied on the abstract. So from the abstract itself, what I read was that they had elevated TSH levels, which were significant, but non-clinically significant, and it was in the elderly group, right? And at the time, the study did not mention if it was a controlled study. By the way, it was not 100% controlled study. There was controls for some things, but the control was not.
There were two control groups, and the abstract did mention wasn't only elderly people. So even if you read the abstract, you read that also wrong.
Wait. I did not go through the study. I had just referred to the screenshot. Like I said, it was a study done in, I think the study is in different language, so I had to do the
The
translation.
abstract is in English, the study is in Japanese.
Okay. The second point that I did was that there was no significant difference between T3 and T4 levels, which you have allegedly said here that there was a significant decrease in serum T3 and T4 levels, which I will actually. Okay, so let me just open the study and let me know once you can see the study.
I can say to this as well. I mentioned that there's a significant difference, but if you open the table, you will find that there's declining percentage, but there is no significant.
Here's the table. Let me know if you can see the table.
Yeah, I can see the table.
Alright, so now if you understand T3 and T4, they have intraday variance. It could be up to 10%. 9.69 after 1 month. This is typically in the range of less than 10%, around 6%, I guess. Same happens here, same happens here, same happens here. And the group where they actually detected the highest amount of TSS elevation, look, there's no difference at all. Okay, so T3 and T4, there was no variance from anything which could be anything more than an intraday fluctuation. Do you agree to my findings or do you disagree here? And then I can move on to TSH, which is one of the biggest problems with the study, because if you come here and look at the scatter plot here, what do you see in the study? Do you see some of the problems with the study? So I'll just tell you that this is a scatter plot. Everybody who's looking here, this is a scatter plot. So the study did not provide raw data. If there was a raw data, I could have quickly run ANOVA and found out some of the big problems with the study, but we didn't have raw data, right? So we have scatter plots. Now, just from looking at the scatter plot, a smart guy will tell you that most of the values are under the bell curve, are these values. Do you see any problem with this, doctor?
Sorry, can you come back? Come again?
Can you see some problems with the scatter plot? Can you see some problems with the scatter plot there?
I'd like you to elaborate on this.
Yes, perfect. So look at this. Whenever we have raw data, when we do any sort of studies and we run any kind of statistical method on it, like in this case they use Fisher's and t-test, right? So they calculated the mean difference between groups. Now, a mean is basically average of all numbers divided by the number of numbers, right? But if you do not use the mean values correctly, let's say there are outliers, they can skew the mean. So as you can see that there are some subjects which are complete outliers. Typically here, if you look at the T3 values, TSH values here, they are roughly in the same range of, I think if this is 5, this is 0.5, typically the values range from 0.1 to I think 4 micro units per ml. And look at the numbers. There's no difference. Practically, there's no difference in TSH values, and the whole result is getting skewed because of this one data point, right? This is an outlier. So in statistics, what we do is typically when we do a mean distribution curve, right? The curve should be a perfect bell curve. And if you have these outliers with a z value greater than plus minus 3, we remove them. If you remove these outliers, you'll have this. If you consider the values under the bell curve, you would see that there's no significant difference in TSH numbers.
Can I just quickly ask you for some? Can I quickly ask you two things?
Sure.
One, could you show me the table?
Yeah. Remember that the table will not show you the raw data, it is showing the mean data for the
Of course. You mentioned that in the third group, there's barely any difference, and in the second group, there's very small difference, but there is difference of 6% something you mentioned.
No, understand once again. This is T4.
No, I'm just confirming what you said. You said in the first and second group, there
we have
is.
already said that T4 and T3 did not change. This is intraday variance, which is completely normal. T4 and T3 did not change significantly. You can look at it. This is completely normal for thyroid variation intraday.
Oh, by the way, the study mentions that it was in a declining trend.
Right, when I said there's no difference in T4 and T3 levels, you said it decreased. It did not decrease.
There's a declining trend. It did decrease. It's clearly mentioned in the study. You want me to open it?
Fluctuations in thyroid is around 10%. 10% fluctuation in thyroid levels throughout the day is not a declining trend.
I'm talking about the yearly. I'm talking about the yearly decline.
No, it's not yearly. It's 1 month. It's not a decline, doctor. You can go and check with anybody.
I can open the study right now for you. It clearly mentions that. I can open the study right now. You want me to open the study?
Hey, you can open the study at your end. This is not a declining trend. This is perfectly in range. T40.
Let me just open it for you. And you also mentioned that the third group had no difference. I would like to ask you,
What are the contents of people in the third group?
Sorry, what?
What are the what is the what are the type of people that we are having in group 2 and 3?
I think elderly people or some folks may
Absolutely
mixed up. You can go and refer to
elderly
the
people,
detail.
they were
The point
not.
is, you're looking at the data.
I'm just asking you a question, man.
Come on, don't attack me. But what I'm trying to say is that
Let me open the conclusion of the study. So I'll tell you the. Okay. So group 3 had 10 older individual, 1 man, 9 women, age 46 to 76 with an average age of 60.
group 3, which
Showed minimal difference. Had 1 man, 9 women. And we come to the same point again. All your evidence points to the fact that soy or anti-nutrients are good for women and not for men. They're okay for men.
Again, you're not getting my point. The point that
You mentioned that you just let me. Okay, I'll speak to the sentences. You speak to the sentences. So we'll stay in check. So, firstly, in group 3, you mentioned that there is no change. But if we see who's in group 3, then we'll find out that it's 9 women and 1 man. In group 1, you mentioned that there is no intraday change. But I'll quickly open the statement in the study which talks about
declining trend for the same. Until then, you can finish your 2 statements.
Sure. The problem is that the study cannot be relied on because the study did not report the data correctly. I was going to come to that. But before that, I wanted you to go through the entire tables completely.
I can go through the table and
Go through the tables completely. I'm here and I will tell you why this study did not report the data correctly.
Yeah.
Look at the scatter plot. Maybe I'll allow you to kind of have a look at it.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I can't read these plots. I'm not a maths guy. Alright. I can't read these plots. I can't read statistics. But I can read numbers. And I can read T3, T4, TSH numbers, and I can read the literature, which you clearly have it from the very start of commenting till now. So I'll give it to you. Man.
You have to rely on data.
There's a lot of data.
You can't read data. You can't.
This is one image of the entire study. The only image.
This is not the image. If you don't have raw data,
Okay,
the scatter plot is everything.
Two statements of yours are over.
This basically tells you that
Even though there was some minimal difference or the exaggerated mean numbers, it also came from these 3 outlier values. How difficult is it to make sense of this data? It's very simple. See, scatter plot basically shows individual responses to soybean consumption. It's not that difficult to understand.
Alright. So you're saying that it's not
for the baseline. I'm telling you how to read this. This is baseline.
Alright.
Baseline levels. And then after consumption, this is where the baseline went. If you see majority of the distribution under the bell curve,
look at this. There was no difference. There were some outliers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in statistics, what we do is we remove the outliers and then check out if the effect was on the major group was almost same. Because this is not a good data collection exercise. And even bigger problem with this is look at this.
okay, look at this. What are they suggesting? They are saying this is a control. Okay, this is the young population, this is control, this is elderly, and this is
The no soy group. They took it for 3 months. Look at some of the no soy groups also. But even this is not a problem. The biggest problem is look at the baseline levels. What is typical baseline for TSH? 0.1 to 0.4, right? That's where typically the TSH stays. How come the data in TSH could be up to 40 microunits per liter? This is wrong data. This is shit data. This story is stupid. There is no conclusion.
that's why people do refer to this.
You're done with your 2 studies?
The study data is fraud. This is incorrect data.
Of course. So now that you've read your data, can I start speaking?
Sure.
So I'll share screen quickly and I'll address the same points. So we've got this one right here, and we can clearly see serum T, value T showed a decreasing trend after 1 month of soy intake, but it was not significant. So talking about how clearly I can read data or you can,
It is wrong.
you're interrupting me.
It is wrong.
You're interrupting me
again. You're
If
interrupting
the
me
data
again.
is wrong, the findings of the studies are wrong. I just told you what's the problem with the data. What is the literature based on? Please tell me. How do you base literature on? What do you base your literature on?
I think we decided for 2 statements of yours and 2 of mine.
Go ahead.
Alright, so there's this in clear English. I have translated this for you, by the way. It shows a decreasing trend after 1 month of soy intake, but it was not significant, showed no significant variation. Alright, so
This is the first thing that I wanted to add. Now adding on to the second thing, let me just quickly open it. Oh yeah, I already have all of these. One second.
There are also other problems in the study. which
my
are-
statements, man. Come on, my statements now. So how do I? about how clearly I am reading
in the study or how clearly you're reading the study, I would just like I'd just like to ask you this question that since you are mentioning that the entire study is based on statistics,
Fraud data, wrong data.
Wrong data, alright. As per your statistic calculation. Since I don't understand this, I won't simply address it, but why can't I find it?
Like it's very simple to read. I can help you understand the statistics. It's very simple.
My turn, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Since you're saying that statistics are proving a lot of things, I think you can see this very clearly.
So, your conclusion
Is that the study is a fraud just because you read a graph?
Not fraud.
You literally mentioned that it's fraud. You
Fraud
literally,
is a different word. Fraud with biases means filled with biases.
Oh, my
Not
bad.
fraud.
My bad. So you're saying that the study is built with biases, or it's an incorrect study, or you're saying that it's completely useless, and that's why reviews haven't used this particular study yet. So
No, you can't use this study because the findings are incorrect.
exactly.
So you're saying that as per your graph, this study is deemed unfit for usage, right? But if we were to take two situations, is one, we could conclude with the graph, or second, we could conclude with the fact that 11 people got goiter after 1 year of consumption of soy. Out of 2 people, out of this, all of these people lost their goiter except 2
After they left consuming soy. So people also develop subacute thyroiditis, which means inflammation of the thyroid.
and
A lot of people face diarrhea, constipation, and the main concern is hypothyroid and goiter. So now we can base this study in two ways. We can say that, alright, just because we saw a couple of graphs, this study is pretty much. Or we can see the real conclusion.